Hello and welcome to a new episode of Race Recap, where we provide you with all the key insights and crucial information from each weekend's feeder series action. My name's Thomas Groves, and we might have to rename the show this week because there was no racing to recap. But we weren't going to deprive you of a Monday episode, so this week we're recapping the Formula E rookie test that took place over the weekend, and here to talk about it is self-confessed Formula E superfan Seb Tirado. Seb, thank you so much for joining us. Now, the test took place over 2 sessions on Sunday, and while Formula E might sound like a series completely unrelated to Feeder Series portfolio, there were a number of familiar faces present. Now, George previewed a few of those on the latest episode of Feeder Focus, but Seb, who impressed you the most out on track?
The driver who impressed me the most today is most certainly Teofil Nile. It's his first ever time testing a Formula E car, and he goes fastest in the morning session. He goes third fastest in the afternoon, and overall he tops the timings with that blistering lap time in the first session, which was also the fastest lap of the entire weekend as well, beating out Dan Ticktum in free practice 1. And it's very impressive. There's no other words to describe it. It's an impressive debut performance, and it's truly it's exciting to see. It's exciting to see a young name like Teofil get in this very unorthodox single-seater machine and just nail it. And an honorable mention also as well, definitely to Nikita Bedrin as well. He P7 in the morning session, but he topped the afternoon, and overall I gave him the second fastest time of the entire rookie test. It's not his first time in a Formula E car, but it's definitely evident the rate of progression he's made with DS Penske. And we alluded to this in Feeder Focus, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see Bedrin in the future, because he definitely wants to make this his professional career destination.
And of the returning drivers then, who do you feel improved most upon their previous entries into this annual test?
Kush Maini is my pick for the most impressive returning driver in today's rookie test. Last year in Free Practice 0, he topped the timing sheets in Jeddah, and he finished third overall in the Berlin rookie test. And today he finished second in both test sessions to give him an overall P3 in the overall classification. Again, like I mentioned with Bedrin earlier, I think it's very evident of the rate of progress he's made in Formula E machinery and with Mahindra Racing. There's a good relationship there. I spoke with Frederick Bertrand after the afternoon session, and he told me, yeah, it's good to work with Kush, and that he had a very impressive outing today to make it a Mahindra 1-3 along with Teofil Nile at the very top. An honorable mention I'd give as well is to Abby Pulling for Nissan. Top 10 in both sessions. She finished 9th in the first session and 8th in the second session. It gave her 11th overall in classification. But this is her highest rookie test outing. And again, it's evident of the rate of progress that she's made with Nissan as their rookie and simulator driver. I think she'll be an interesting prospect for the future of Formula E. In my eyes, I think she could definitely be a good prospect to be the next female driver to race in Formula E.
Now, also featuring in this test was considerable talent from the Feeder Series grid, including one from your very own Euro Cup 3 Winter Series in Bianca Bustamante and current F1 Academy star Ella Lloyd. Now, also we had Juju Noda from Super Formula and Abby Pulling, who's set to compete full-time in GB3 this year. But what did you make of their respective weekends, Seb?
So this was Bianca and Ella's first test outing of 2026 for their teams, Cooper Kiro and Envision Racing, respectively. They finished 18th and 19th in the overall classification, and they put in a good amount of laps in both test sessions as well. It's great to see them back in the paddock. I know they have a good relationship with their respective teams, so I wouldn't be surprised if they return for the women's test in November at Valencia. Other than Abby Pulling, who I've already spoken about, a great honorable mention should be Juju Noda, who comes from the world of Super Formula. She finished 20th in the overall classification. She didn't put a foot wrong all day from what I could see. So it's great to see her also on track alongside her fellow female feeder series drivers.
And finally, there's big news, of course, for the next season of Formula E starting at the end of this year. We know that Porsche are intending to field an extra 2 cars in that season. And Seb, if you were Porsche, based on this test, who would you be looking at closely?
Well, so I don't think they'll be on the grid in the second Porsche factory team next season. I don't think this will be the last that we see of Freddie Slater and Callum Voisin, the 2 Andretti drivers in today's rookie test. They finished 8th and 10th overall in the overall classification. And firstly, in the case of Slater, we already know he's a very accomplished young talent. He's a very exciting prospect on the junior single-seater ladder. He's a member of the Audi driver development program, and he's gotten to grips with the Formula E car very well today. So I don't think this will be the last time that we see him, whether that's with Andretti or with one of the two Porsche teams next season. And I'll say the same thing about Callum Boyson as well. It's not his first time in a Formula E car. And other than the incident in the opening minutes of the morning session, which took him out for a good portion of it, he bounced back and he still had a very decent session and a very decent rest of the day. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if he again appears in a retest in the future. So I think if you come back to me in about a year, I think we'll be definitely having this conversation again with about one of the two Porsche teams at least. And of course, we can't ignore the news that Formula E are getting a 12th team next season, with Opel joining the grid, which is another team under the Stellantis operation, who also runs Citroen Racing, of whom Joshua Dirksen was a part of this weekend for the rookie test. He finished 12th in the overall classification. He got a good handle of the car. I don't think he put a foot wrong across both sessions. And it's still early doors to make predictions about who will be in the two Opel seats, whether one of them will be a feeder series driver or not. Perhaps Joshua Dirksen could be a good shout for one of the seats, but we'll just have to see in the near future.
Well, that's all from Formula E's annual rookie test, and the good news is that next week the racing will return, with Indy NXT continuing its own season and hailing the return of Super Formula Light. Before we go though, a reminder that you can follow us on our website at feederseries.net and our extensive social platform, and a huge thank you for Seb for joining us today. If you have enjoyed this episode, please don't hesitate to leave a review, comment, like, or follow to stay up to date with all things Feeder Series. And coming up, we've got a special episode as George Sanderson from Feeder Focus interviews Aurelia Nobels, and she'll be answering your questions. So make sure to send them in. Keep an eye on Feeder Series Instagram at Feeder Series Net for your chance to get a question featured in the pod, or just follow the link in the description below. But for now, my name's Thomas Groves, and you've been listening to Race Recap, brought to you by Feeder Series. Make sure to join George on Thursday for a brand new episode of Feeder Focus, and make sure to check back in this time next week for another Race Recap. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.